Today is Wednesday, November the 18th, 2015, and Joe Turner and myself, Judy Meyer, are visiting and talking with Rich and Ann Thiel. Is that how you pronounce your last name?
Actually, the H is silent.
Yeah.
It's Thiel. It's pronounced like Tiel. My father-in-law told me that right off the bat. The H is silent. But he worked for AT&T, for 37 years, and they always call him Thiel.
Thiel. Well, that when you see it in print, that's what it looks like, but it's really
it does.
Thiel.
Mm-hmm.
And we are also visiting today with Sharron Ridgeway. And the two, Ann and Sharron, have a connection and that I've been learning about going back some years, and we're going to talk about that. And we're going to start off with Ann and Rich. Can you tell us where you started off in life?
North St. Louis, we both did.
Yeah, we both went to.
I lived in Jennings, and Rich lived in Country Club Hills.
Where was it?
In Jennings. Country Club Hills, a little subdivision in Jennings.
Okay.
And we, I went to Jennings High School and she went to Fairview. Which was at that time they were both in a Jennings school. They were both in the Jennings, but they were two public schools, high schools.
And can I ask, are you approximately the same age with each other?
He's 3 years older.
Okay. So can I have an approximate maybe?
I'm 70.
77.
So and he just turned 81.
Oh, okay.
He just turned 81, I know.
Are you all, since you grew up in that area, old enough to remember why Jennings Station Road has that name?
I don't think I've ever heard that.
Why it was what?
Why it was called Jennings Station Road.
No, but I think there was a Mr. Jennings, wasn't there? A Jennings, person?
I think I had read that
It
myself.
was Jennings Station for
Right,
whatever
that
reason,
was
but it
within
was a
walking
railroad
distance
station.
of where we lived.
No, railroad station.
And what was
All
that
that
place that was
railroad
famous
came
for
across
their pizza? I mean, their. Remember do you know what I'm talking
No.
about? We do that all the
Anyway.
time. I put him on the spot, he can't remember, and then all of a sudden we remember.
You both
And
remember.
get real excited. Doesn't take much to turn us on these days.
Well, don't worry if you can't actually remember certain
Remember the
dates
place
and
that was down
times.
at where it was famous for their dinners or pizza was down there on West Florissant? You don't remember?
No.
Was it?
Okay.
No, never mind.
Do you remember?
We went there for dates. Larry and I did.
What was the name?
I was in love then, I didn't
Well,
care.
Sharon,
that
what
Monticello's?
about you? Where did you go to school? Area were you in?
Wellston.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And can you tell us approximately that time was when you were in school?
I started in 1945 to go, well, I went to kindergarten in the Catholic school at Notre Dame, which is all in Wellston, and I got a little scared there because the nuns were. So, following year in first grade, I went to public school and went all the way through elementary, and then went to a junior high in Wellston up a road or off the Rock Road, and then went to Wellston High School where I met my future husband.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
So he was also from Wellston?
Yes.
I
yes.
see.
We met. Mm-hmm.
And when did you get married, Sharon?
1960.
1960.
We were 59.
Oh, wow, you two are both
We
pretty
had
close.
so much in common when we met each other.
Well, what type of things do you have in common?
Well, the Historical Society, for one.
Because we're old.
We loved working at Payne Gentry. My kids helped to even scrape the wallpaper off with Doris Perezzini and the crew, and then Ann and I.
The bankers. And
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And we had a ball.
Well, we really want to talk a lot more about that. I just want to get a little background. So apparently, both of your families did end up in Bridgeton. Is that correct?
Creve Coeur Mill Road.
yeah, we started out in 1960,
You moved
wasn't
there in
it?
60 and I moved there in 61.
It was called, it was across from,
Well, where the high school is
now, yeah.
Yeah.
Chatham Village.
Yes.
Exactly, yes it was.
Yeah, that's where actually
Where
we
we
bought
started
that
out.
little house over there when we first got married. in Chatham Village.
And then we both of us moved to Carrollton in '67, right? Wasn't it?
So you both actually lived over there?
Yes.
Both.
And
Yeah.
then you both moved to
Carrollton the
Carrollton?
same time.
And what street did you live on, Rich and Ann?
Elsinore.
No, we lived on Elsinore
That's what
in
he said.
Carrollton, but
Oh.
we lived on Fleetwood in
Okay.
Chatham,
Okay.
Chatham Village,
And Sharon?
Creek Car Mill Road,
Uh-huh.
which was right around the corner from her.
Yeah.
Did you know her then?
No.
Oh,
We met at what was that, a jewelry party? Or?
Neighbor of mine next door, and that's when we met. She came to the party.
what kind of party?
I think it was jewelry.
Jewelry, something like that, yeah.
And we talked about we were moving to Carrollton, and so I think we had signed papers to move to Carrollton, and I said, I'm gonna pick you up because you had not quite moved out. So I went over to her house yet and brought her
See, I
back
remember this
to Carrollton, our new house, which she was getting ready to move in. And I brought her home, and then she said, oh my gosh, I left a pan of pea soup on the stove. So we jumped in the car, I drove her back home. You got that, turned it off, and that
I
was
was
one
forgetting
of
stuff way back
Yeah,
then.
you
See,
were.
I'd forgotten, I forgot.
Oh, but
And what street did you live on, Sharon?
Gallatin,
It's right as you come in.
just as you
to-
come
to
into
Carrollton.
Carrollton.
By the apartments there. The apartments are still there.
Yeah.
Yes, they all.
Well, does anybody live in those
Oh,
apartments?
yeah.
Oh, I think so.
Oh.
So what street, I
Stephanie
mean,
lived there.
what year was it? I guess
Was it?
both of you moved to Carrollton the same year?
67.
67.
1967.
Yeah, we had
were
3
there.
kids each
You each had 3
at
kids.
the time. I had 3 daughters.
How
and you
personal are
had-
you gonna get?
Well,
Don't give away any
I'm
secrets.
getting to the pregnancy
into the good part.
No.
Well, now, did both your families, did the kids go to Pattonville School?
Mine did.
Mine went to Hazelwood West.
Why?
Because we were back in the back of
We were
Carrollton.
the only street in the back that went to Hazelwood is us
Oh,
in
wow.
Carrollton. We were one of very few streets that went to Hazelwood.
Did you know that when you bought the house?
No,
No.
not really.
We didn't-
It
we
wasn't a
didn't-
concern, I
I didn't
guess.
think much about it. I mean, well, we had an elementary school right up the street from
Right,
us. so-
right.
So did we, yeah, but it was a Hazelwood. It was a Hazelwood.
Yeah.
So Sharon,
Well,
which
not them. She
elementary
said they
school
had
did
one.
your
No,
children
they had
go
one
to?
too.
What elementary? Carrollton.
Okay.
And then they went to the junior high up St. Charles Rock
Mm-hmm.
Road. And then they went to Pattonville High School.
Did your children pal around or hang around
They
together?
really didn't,
No,
did
they didn't. I think they each had friends from
From
different
school, yeah.
schools. But we all knew each other, and I mean, it was, yeah.
So did you stayed friends and after you both moved into Carrollton?
Oh, yes, yes.
What
We
was
did.
Carrollton like? Let's go with Rich and
Okay,
Ann.
well,
What
I
was
should know
Carrollton
that I
like?
collected the assessments for Carrollton.
Wait, what'd you say? What?
We had an assessment in Carrollton of $25
A year.
a year.
No, I didn't know what that was all about.
And that was my job. I
Well, who
collected the
said
money.
that this had to be done?
That Cape took care of the entrances.
We had a Carrollton
and
Board of Governors, it was called.
Oh, really?
They were just all volunteers, but there was a board and they set the more or less they didn't set the assessments, but they had to vote on it. We had to vote on it, but it stayed 25 years for 50 years. It never did go up.
$25 for
Yeah.
$25 a year.
Who else was on the board? Do you remember any other
Charlie
people?
Sapp
Yes. Uh-huh.
and Jack Corrigan
Okay.
and do you remember anybody else?
Well, let's see.
What was the purpose of having this board of governors?
Well, we had the pool
Two.
and the Carrollton Club.
Big pool,
And
little
That belonged to
there was
everybody in the
just,
subdivision.
it was run, everything was taken care of. They kind of ran things.
pool. It was a wonderful though. I mean, 25.
Yeah, like my one daughter
year.
was a lifeguard. That was her for
Yes.
years, my Lisa.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was. I remember.
Could other people, if you lived outside of Carrollton, come over and use
They
the
could
pool?
use the pool. They had to pay to get in, but they could, yeah. See, we had a something show when we paid the $25. Although we did pay a little extra,
Well,
didn't we?
that's how we subsidize that $25 a year we start charging. Even the people who live there, because we couldn't afford it after.
Well, they did that right away,
Well, it was pretty soon, yeah.
because they were collecting it when I
Well,
took over
because
the
they had a
job.
pool. Pool was expensive to run. We had 3 swimming pools there.
Yeah.
It was a
And
big clump.
so the city of Bridgeton really didn't upkeep
No.
it.
No, they had
No, they
nothing
didn't.
whatsoever to do with it.
But they did take care of like the maintenance of your streets and so forth.
Yes,
Yes,
they did, didn't they? As
Yeah,
far
they
as I
did.
know.
Yeah,
they
snow
kept
plows,
streets,
everything.
snow removal.
Yeah, because
It was wonderful.
Bridgeton's always been really, they like their,
Yeah.
to take care of their streets. It was always been a big thing with them, supposedly. The maintenance bin. Why, I'm not sure.
And Sharon, you said you lived on Gallatin,
Yes.
and your children went to Carrollton, and how many children do you have?
4.
4.
And I do too.
She got, I shouldn't say that, but she got pregnant.
You're gonna tell, aren't you?
I couldn't be outdone, so I got pregnant like 10 months later. Yeah.
We each had 3, and
When
then
they
there was a
moved to
long,
Carroll-
sort
we
of in
moved to
between, like
Carroll.
8 years.
Yeah.
And then,
And yes, and then,
but I had a girl and you had a boy.
well, our first boy.
Well, that's right,
we were
yeah, it was. I
happy.
had a boy already.
Yeah, you did.
So we both have 3 girls and one
Yeah.
boy.
So how long did both of you, how long did you live in Carrollton then?
What year did we move?
69.
No,
No.
When you came out
no.
here.
How long did we live in Carrollton? She said.
Well, since 69. And we lived there
Well, I know, but
till
when
about
did we
10
move?
till about 10 years ago.
I guess it's been about 10 years.
So how many
We've
years
been out
is
here.
that?
We wanted to stay, but he wanted a villa, and at that time they didn't have any villas in Bridgeton. It was like 2000 and
Yeah, well, they were
what
just
year it was?
building those ones over there on the rock
on
road.
the old St. Charles Road.
Did
But
they
they
have
were,
Autumn
they were
trees?
kinda, I mean, they were, we got this
Close to
one
that. Now that's Maryland
quite a bit
Heights.
cheaper, didn't they?
Yeah.
They were the same, the exact same thing.
Where exactly would you say we are right now? What
We're in
area?
O'Fallon.
O'Fallon.
We're in the old town of O'Fallon.
I see.
North, that's why you came up Main Street. That's the old town, old part of it, O'Fallon. That's original. Down on the other side of 70, south side of 70 is new, wherever everything is.
Yeah, crowded,
All the,
busy.
all the.
They're wanting to
stores and
redo
everything.
Main Street. Everybody's.
These
having
are all the
fits.
old stores, the old antique shops and
Yeah.
stuff
Kind
like
of like
that.
Main Street in St. Charles.
So it's
you know,
sorta
they-
like
they-
that.
They,
Why-
they
why-
want to be
Why
like
did
that.
you move here?
Why? Because I have a daughter that's like, what, how many
Oh,
miles?
just 10 minutes away.
Well, I mean, why did you leave Carrollton?
Oh, well, you had to.
It was
Why?
It was sold out.
By the
St.
airport.
Louis, the
Airport
airport
bought-
took the whole thing.
forced us out.
You were one of the last
We
to
were
go.
one of the last to go.
She was gonna turn the key.
They started writing nasty stuff on the,
Yeah, you guys, Sharon, moved out quite a ways before us, because you've got that place out in
In the
the.
country.
Well,
on
tell
Howard
us
Peak
about,
Country.
Sharon, tell us about you. Did you move because of the airport buyout?
No, we had no idea when we decided to move. And my husband knew General Motors was building out here
Okay.
in Winsville. And he begged me to go. I said, I've got the kids' school, I've got our church. We both went to the same church too. And friends, and I'm still working at Sears and Roebuck.
Sears and Roebuck
which we
where?
both worked there too, Northwest Plaza.
Yes.
We did that together too.
Oh, yeah. We went garage sailing every Wednesday.
Yes, we used to plot our course the night before, remember? And
Yeah.
we took a compass with us.
Yeah, because we
To
didn't
find
have a
it,
GPS.
because we didn't know, they
then.
didn't, that was before
Where's
GPSs.
the sun?
yes.
Yeah, we go out for hours, and sometimes we go to the pancake house.
Afterwards,
and
yeah.
with the papers and see where all of them were and write them down. Yeah.
That was a big thing in those days.
Oh, it
garage
was.
sales.
On
It was.
Wednesdays?
Yes, Wednesdays.
Yes.
I did Wednesday
It was
garage sales
Wednesdays,
also.
yeah. Now I think they have them on Fridays, don't they, or Saturdays?
evening.
Do they even have them on Wednesdays anymore?
Yeah, once in a while you see
they?
a sign, yeah, but Friday
Well, we were
nights,
talking about, Sharon, you're moving, so what year did you move then?
1989.
But it wasn't necessarily you weren't being forced out.
No,
right?
we had
No.
no idea.
Oh,
At
he
that
moved in
time, it was
89.
before the
Yeah.
airport even talked
Mr.
about expanding, or just, it
Mr.
was just
Briggs.
something in the future.
Yeah, he decided he wanted a runway, and.
Oh, Griggs.
Yes,
Because Briggs is, do you know that's the new man?
Well, you wanted
Yeah,
his name is-
acreage, I mean, you got about a couple
yes,
of acres
my
there,
husband, yeah, we have 4 acres.
Cause he has,
and
he's,
Big garage.
Car,
he
oh,
works,
car.
he's a
We drive
car,
old cars.
he works on old cars, her husband does Larry,
Oh, really?
We
and,
belong to a club.
he
shop.
wanted a place to,
He could
he
do
put a
it.
big garage
Oh,
up.
I see.
And you didn't.
Yeah,
Were your kids all graduated from high school when you moved?
mine wasn't the last one. Well, John had to, when we moved here, he was in his 2nd year of high school.
Oh, uh-huh.
trying to
And
think
he
what
went
ours
to
were.
Fort Zumwalt.
Oh,
We
okay.
were, because that was 2000 and,
Everybody
Betsy
was
didn't
out
go.
of school, everybody was out of school then.
was Betsy too though? Was
Oh,
she?
sure, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm trying to
She
think when
was.
she would have graduated.
yeah.
Yeah, well, she was just.
Hazelwood, yeah.
yeah.
Well, you were,
She still
tell them
was living
briefly about working together and at something about the Payne Gentry House. So let's back up and let's talk about that because yesterday we interviewed a couple that actually lived in the Payne Gentry House. They rented it
Rented it.
for about a year, and I was fascinated to hear this.
They did
It was
have that. You remember that?
1958
Way
when they
back
lived
when,
there.
yeah.
68?
50.
58.
58, oh.
So, first of all, let's back up and tell me what was your involvement with the historic Payne Gentry House on Fifi Road?
Well, we just got involved in the historical society,
And
didn't we? And we
restoring
just gave
it.
tours.
Right, and we had met Doris Berezini.
Right.
And who was Doris Berzini?
Oh, gosh.
She lived right close
right
to
on
the old
Fifi
house, and
Road.
she was,
She knew and did everything. They got the diaries all published and printed, and we did tours there for a long time.
yeah.
And of course.
Well, they're still having them.
Yeah,
We're
but
having them, well, are
we
you-
haven't done, I.
Well, we've got the
you and I-
candlelight one coming
Yeah,
up.
I know, and I think I got my car club. But we got in on the very beginning, and we got Doris, they made up books and all the history of what went
Ancient,
on
right.
there. And then we had the diaries, which told day after day what they were doing.
Of the 2 women that,
Yes, a
the
mother and
mother
a
and then
daughter.
her daughter.
And the daughter, she died in that front bedroom
Right.
after childbirth. So we knew a lot about them.
Right.
A lot of the furniture was still up in the attic.
Plus, there's Mrs. Scion, her
Oh, her-
Elizabeth Gentry, who lives,
Right.
who we would go to see, and she would tell us old stories.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that she lived in the house.
Yeah.
Now, when you both started becoming tour guides, was the house already renovated, or did you do any work on the renovation?
No, it was done. It was pretty much
It
done,
was
wasn't
pretty
it?
much, although, like I say, my daughters as Girl Scouts was in there helping.
Helps.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Just really, and then we had luncheons at the Carrollton Club, and that's.
Oh, that's right, you and I did that
Yeah,
once.
flower,
didn't we?
yeah,
Remember
flower.
the belly dancer?
Yes, we did.
What
Yes.
about the luncheons?
Well, we had a luncheon
And then
once a
we'd
month
have
at
people-
the people in Carrollton would come to.
Yeah.
And we, it was our job to get something set up.
Something,
A program.
not entertainment so much as,
Well,
well, it was
It was kinda
entertaining. Yeah, we
entertaining, that
had
was.
a belly dancer teaching how to belly dance and yoga and
Yeah.
things like that. And there were a
See,
lot
I
of
forgot
people.
about, yeah,
A lot of people
that
came.
came.
Mm-hmm.
Well, getting back to the Payne Gentry
Yeah,
house,
okay. Not as much
how
fun.
often do you think you gave tours?
Well, they were twice a month, didn't we have them back then?
Sundays, I thought we had them.
Do we have them every Sundays or the first and third? They've cut down now to
Yeah,
just the first, but
yeah.
I think they were the first
Yeah.
and third Sundays
But we were there
of every month.
quite a bit.
And at that time, did you have the Christmas candlelight tour that's coming up real soon?
So
Did you
we-
have
did
that
we have a
event?
candlelight tour back then, do you remember?
Not early on, I don't think. But now Doris had her tea set, so that was pretty
Yeah,
much
she was
in the
very active,
beginning.
and we did have, remember when she had that show with the models and that? She had that at the Carrollton Club.
Club.
That was to make money for Payne Gentry.
Right.
Well, why did you have to make money for the paint
Just for
gentry?
the upkeep, the lighting.
I thought
you know,
the
that
city
was
of
before they-
Bridgeton pays for
No,
that.
they didn't take that over.
Yeah, we sold it to them. I mean, they took it over, but at that time,
It was run by the individual, the historical society, period.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Did, at that time when you were involved, did they have a caretaker that stayed on
Yes.
the premises?
Yes.
yes, they did, because I remember we looked in one time and saw someone, and somebody I was with on it, bringing into for a tour. She opened the door, she looked in, she saw him, and she screamed
Yeah.
because she thought it was a ghost.
And where did he stay?
What was his name?
In that room
that
where the
meeting
office is
room.
now.
Off of the kitchen area.
by the kitchen. That's where
Yeah.
he did
Well,
lived.
that was,
Yeah.
What was his name? You remember his name?
Fred, wasn't it? Was it
don't-
Fred?
I
and what was
No, maybe
his,
that's just that sign now.
well, what was his job, or, you know, what was
just
he
to
there
be
for?
sure that nobody
Broke in,
Yeah.
I
broke
guess.
in or anything,
Yeah.
just to take care of
He was
things.
pretty old, it seems.
Yeah, he was up there.
Yeah, but I guess he would have heard.
Did he do maintenance at the house too?
No, we had, who was that?
The city of
old guy.
Bridgeton's, well, they do it now, but I don't know
Yeah,
if
but
they
who was
did
the
it
old
back
guy
then.
that did all the maintenance? We
Oh,
liked
gee,
him so
Sharon.
much, he died not that long ago, remember? He helped
Oh,
us,
Henry
yeah.
Jordan?
Henry Jordan.
Who was
Yes.
Henry Jordan? I don't know this name.
He was very active. He
Oh,
took
yes.
over, did maintenance work.
Yeah.
Used to have
Well, at
the
that time, there wasn't even a park there, right, was there? Was there a Bridgeton, was that a Bridgeton Park? I don't think it was.
you mean behind
Gentry
Payne
Park?
Gentry
They were
House?
doing that, you know, like paint,
The Gentry Park that
The Gentry
surrounded
Park.
Entry Park, yeah.
that surrounds it, was that there?
I think it was, because
used
I
to-
think I remember parking when we would
Remember, we used to
come
have,
there.
well, we used to have festivals.
Oh,
festivals. Now
Well,
tell
back
us
in
what
the
is.
back,
Yes.
paint at the park.
Now what were
'cause I
festivals
remember making
all about?
strawberry, we talked about
Oh,
that. That's
gosh.
when I used to
Well,
cook.
tell them about
We
the,
made bread.
every spring, or was it spring or fall, where
September.
you used to have that, the picnics, like, the picnic, not the picnic, but you, homemade
Fair.
stuff.
That's what I was just
Yeah,
saying.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
and we
Go
would
ahead.
sell it. We there was two old ladies that were kind of bossy, but Ann and I would take ours to work, and,
Take your what to work?
well, we had so many hours to work, like, it would start at 11 o'clock or something like that.
You talking about the Gentry Fair?
Uh-huh, but ours was homemade goods,
We had the bakery, yeah.
yeah.
Like what kind of homemade goods?
Strawberry
gosh.
bread was
And
what my
zucchini.
mother, and zucchini bread, that sort of thing.
Little
That's, like I said,
pans
that's
of
when I
bread.
cooked.
We sold them for like 75 cents.
Yeah.
Remember that?
And could you
yes.
really make money doing that?
We did,
We
didn't
did.
we? Yeah.
We really did. We were one of the busiest.
Yeah, well, that was one of the big money makers, actually.
Yeah. And then you had people.
And we also sold, not sold, we had booths, people come in,
Right.
like they do at craft fairs.
Craft fairs.
Nowadays, although they're always inside now, I think.
Yeah.
Didn't they just have one in Bridgeton, I think?
Yeah, they had
Cindy
the big,
asked
they had
me.
the big one in the, yeah.
John Calvin, I think, wasn't it?
Oh,
That was
So
Yeah.
tell us more about this Gentry Fair. What was the purpose of having Gentry Fair? Just
Just
having
sort
a
of to
fun?
advertise that we were there.
Yeah, it was
Make
fun.
money.
We had music.
Yes.
We had different bands come on in for maybe an hour or two, and then another band would come in, and they played constantly.
Where was this actually held? Can you,
It was right
Yeah,
behind
back.
the Gentry house.
behind the Gentry House and like in front of the community center, the existing community
Well, it didn't
center?
go down that far, did it?
No, it didn't go,
No,
it
it
wasn't
wasn't.
all that big, but it was mostly just right there.
Behind the-
on the
yeah.
trees, right there where the big new pavilion is, right there.
And as the name Banker, Carl and Agnes Banker were
Yeah.
very active.
Oh, they were.
Well, they're relatives of the Telshers.
They always bring those big
Brad
flowers
Keys.
from their garden.
Yeah,
Sell
she brought
those,
those
remember? What do
big
they call those
cones.
things? Yeah.
Some kind of cone, the flower, beautiful.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
were actually-
Agnes
he sold them all the time. They,
Yeah, oh
they were
yeah,
all
everybody
sold out of
wanted
those.
them. yeah. And then didn't we sell like drinks too, tea and
We
lemonade? Lemonade.
Lemonade.
Yeah, we sold a lot of that.
Did you have special events at the Payne Gentry House besides giving tours? Did you hold any special events?
Didn't they have, well, we had,
We had the psychic.
What?
oh, Carmelita Brubaker.
Yes.
What was that all about?
Was that with, do we have her at the Payne Gentry House? Did
Yes.
she come there? Did she
Oh,
come to the
yes,
community
and
center?
she told us, no, she came to Payne Gentry and told us
She was
where
from
all
Kirkwood, I remember
the
that.
ghosts were.
Oh,
And-
that's right, she took
yeah,
the tour
in the
about,
bedroom.
supposedly there were ghosts. So I say
She
supposedly.
could feel the cold, the
Yes.
cold.
In the Payne
Around
Gentry
where the
house.
spinning wheel was.
Yes, that's
right.
Sure, there was
There were ghosts
something
there.
around there, felt cold. And when she spoke, you and I would go up and try to feel
And
this.
the hair was rising back.
No, but one time it did, when Ann and I was left there alone, it was the
That's
day that
right, we were
toured
there.
on. Oh
Oh my gosh, I ran out of that house so fast, I missed the porch.
Both of us.
Didn't we? I remember
Yeah, it
going
was that
across
door
out the
that
front door.
goes up to the attic. Well, we
We
had
heard
locked
something.
all that because the tours were over and it was just her and I there. We were trying to get things back together. And all of a sudden, that door just slowly opened and we knew we had locked it. Put that chain on
Uh-huh.
it.
We thought
Oh
well,
my gosh, we both of us took off. I don't remember even, was that when the police came because we didn't lock the door good?
well, that probably
They came
so.
a couple
We didn't
times.
stop to, yes, we did not stop to lock the door, we just,
Yeah,
Flew
out the
out.
door.
and then called
But
them
it
somewhere
was, yeah,
from
we
the- from
were,
when we got-
it was kind of creepy. But other than that, except a big tree out in the backyard, she was so sure that there were entities, she called them,
Uh-huh.
around that big tree. So we walked around it a lot, but nobody really tapped us.
That was the
shoulder.
psychic, I don't know, she
Carmelita.
still, I know she was from Kirkwood, I remember that.
Yeah, she
She had a
taught.
shop.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, she
she
did.
did.
She had an antique shop and she taught at one of the.
She taught, yes.
Yeah. She
What
was-
about any other, like special events did you hold at the Gentry House? Didn't they have something like quilt
Oh, we had,
fairs
well,
or
that was through the
anything?
historical, yeah, we had quilt,
They,
quilt,
yeah,
couple
and
quilt
Doris,
shows.
yeah, and Doris had many quilts that you came and left them, I mean, different people did,
Right,
and had a show on all of them. I remember Nancy,
oh, what was her last name?
oh, I don't know.
Her
but
husband's name, Nancy.
I know.
And she Barry?
Barry, yes, thank you.
That's it.
We
What
need to
about
take
it?
her with us.
What about
Yes.
Nancy Berry? What are you gonna say?
Oh,
Tim,
she-
isn't her husband's name Tim?
She
Yes.
was almost
She was active, very
obsessed
active.
with that house. And all of a sudden, she quit.
She got involved with the Girl Scouts.
Right.
Or
That's
something,
what she
didn't
said,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
Mm-hmm,
She loved it,
yes.
but it was fun.
And then
times.
didn't, was Doris or somebody had like wedding shower, not showers, but served tea or something there
At other times,
or,
yeah. Yeah.
used it.
Yeah, Doris was really brilliant in coming up with ideas and, I don't know, it was so sad when she died.
Yeah, I know. I
It was
gave a
like-
tour to someone that was a friend of
Doris's.
somebody that lived in the house for a little while. That
Oh,
yeah.
oh, yeah,
I
they
forget where
did
she
rent
was
that
from,
house
what her
out,
name was.
I think a couple times.
Wachter was her last name. Claire, your last name was Wachter. Well, I mean, she came in from the city and wanted a
Okay.
tour because she had been there when she was a child.
Well, didn't they have it as like a beauty shop at one point
I think
too?
so.
I've
yes.
heard that as
yes,
well.
they rented it out.
Mhm.
I've
That's
also
right.
heard that.
But a lot of the furniture was still upstairs in the
It was in the attic.
Yeah,
So
that's
they put it up
amazing.
there. I
when-
know. That's what we've always
Yeah.
thought.
Especially if you've ever gone up in that attic with the narrow stairs and everything.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yes.
Only the ghost. will be
And,
right.
well, Larry Essman, who was very active,
Do you know that name at
Yes.
all? Okay.
and he was a teacher or principal
Yes.
or something.
I think he worked for Pattonville. Didn't
Yes.
he?
Yes.
He taught at Carrollton Oaks on the day they
Yes,
opened.
okay, yeah.
And he, out of the attic window, insisted that he saw a woman in a
That's right, we were standing out in the
white-
park and he saw a shadow in
in
the
a
window.
white dress. She had a white dress on, and I think he could tell you
Forgotten
that
about
today.
that.
Right, I mean, he wasn't somebody that was, you would think that would be making up these things, but he insisted that's what he saw, so. we
In the
kept-
little window right there on the, under
Yeah.
the eave, sort of, as you look at the Payne Gentry house from the park. He said he saw, I think he'd feel bad if we told this, I hope he doesn't
Oh.
mind us telling that story.
I don't think so, because he was very much, he was sure. And you could ask him. Doesn't he tour guide in
I
Chesterfield
think he's still
now?
involved somewhat.
Yeah, he was very active. There was a lot of men active at
Well, we
that
had a
time.
much, we're losing
I know,
people
absolutely.
because nowadays the younger kids have jobs, the younger ones have jobs and they're just not available.
That's
So we were
true.
told.
Do either one of you still give tours to the Payne Gentry house? Do
She
you?
goes, I go.
The candlelight tour is coming up,
Yes.
5th and 6th, yes.
Yes.
Although I have a daughter that's, Lisa's birthday's that
It's
Sunday. And she just lost her husband this year.
yes.
My
Wow.
daughter
Yes.
did.
What happened? Do you mind us asking?
No, he had a heart condition and he had liver failure.
Oh,
And he had a
my.
congestive heart, what do you
Wow.
call that, congestive heart
Congestive
failure?
Failure, yeah.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
a
And they
shame.
just came home and
How
he was
old
53.
Wow. Well,
53.
we're very sorry to hear that.
Well, yeah, she's a nurse, so she's been able to keep herself busy, which is, I know that sounds, but I think that does help. I just heard today where somebody said if they had a loss, they kept working because it keeps your mind
And she has a daughter
occupied.
at
She's
home.
got one
and
daughter,
a
other
son.
son's down at Cape.
Well, and Rich, you say you have 4 children. Do any of them still live in Bridgeton?
I have one daughter that does. Well, I don't know.
Well,
that's
she
right.
knows, she doesn't live now.
Oh, that's right. No, she's
She
in
moved
St.
to St.
Peter's
Charles,
now.
too.
But she's,
She, oh, you didn't say.
She was.
She was up until
Yeah, she
about
was,
about a
yeah.
year ago.
I see.
Yeah, she lived back in the back.
by Terry, I think the street's
Oh.
Terry Smiley Road down
Oh.
in Beck.
That's where Francis lived
Uh-huh.
too, I think.
Oh,
And
She rented a
Sharon, do
little
any of
house
your
back there.
children live in Bridgeton?
Oh, no, they all live St. Peters, Cottleville, Wright City. My son and his family live out in Wright City. They've all moved out close to mom and dad.
Oh, I see.
But I just had a short story to say.
Oh,
My-
sure.
My son, well, it's not much, I guess, but he and his wife went into Paint Gentry
oh,
a
that's
couple
right, you
weeks
told me
ago.
that.
Oh, really?
And, well, it wasn't open, but he wanted to show his wife around and give stories of the fairs and everything. And he has 3 children, and they were all excited to know about it. And he bent down and looked through the basement window, and there was a sign that said Payne Gentry Fair, September the 12th.
Which,
That he could see, in fact, he took a picture of it. I
because
don't
it was the
know.
12th when he was
And
there.
it was the 12th, the day he was there, and his
Didn't say
kids,
what year,
just this past September.
just this
but the
past.
sign didn't say which year.
No, it didn't,
No.
it
What
just said
year?
September the 12th. And it just was kind of. so
But he didn't get to go into the house?
No, it wasn't open, no, we
And
probably.
We're still, it's the first and third Sundays, and now I think they're gonna shut it down until just the first Sundays.
Actually, we have been doing that this year.
This year.
Yes.
Doing what?
Just having it once a month.
Oh,
Yes.
well, there you go.
Right.
So I guess, yeah, it's, well, people just aren't
Yeah, it just doesn't have.
coming, although getting that cake was quite a coup.
What cake are you
The
referring
cake,
to?
the cake.
For the 250th
The 200
celebration.
yes, the celebration.
Yeah, I have a picture, Johnny
Yeah.
took a picture. of
Did he
it.
take a picture of it?
Yeah.
I think it's still there, don't they have it back in the
Yes.
park?
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And why do you think there was the cake there?
Because the Payne Gentry house is
200 years old.
Is that old? What was it, 1750?
Well, no, not, yeah.
Well, that's when that was Bridgeton.
Yeah.
But I was told by someone that, well, I won't say anything, that we're older than some people. I mean, that some
Well, we
Bridgeton
know
is.
that.
Well, not you and I personally.
Oh, okay. We used to have what was it, 100-year-old people that lived in Bridgeton?
Oh, we did have a party for them.
Yeah,
we had
every
a
year
get together.
we did that.
That's right.
Right.
Used to be a lot more active, weren't we?
Oh, yes.
Well, that's what
We
we did in
had
Bridgeton.
Ed, his wife, he's dead too.
Ed Banker?
No,
Brannicky? No.
no. I
Telshire,
can't-
not Telshire.
No, there wasn't an
Well,
No.
if you think of it, you can let us know.
Yeah.
But Ann, you were working actually for the city, weren't you?
I did start working for this. Yeah, I worked at the community center.
And what did you do for?
Well, I started out working in the senior department for Mary Lane. And I started out with Barbara Williams, brought me in to help with the utility tax refund, which was a big thing. And then they moved me, Jim Arnold, they moved me up to the front desk. That was before computers. That's how long ago it was. In fact, I started the same year that Conrad started. I don't remember what year that was.
That was before I moved.
67.
Did you work at the community
Then I
center
worked
or
at
the
the community
city hall?
center. Well, I worked at the community center.
Well,
Okay.
later on, then you.
Later on, then Jim Arnold was someone that was well, he was, I don't remember
He
exactly
was
what
the,
Jim
he was
Arnold
the,
did.
well, he was
The director,
Yeah, Parks Director.
park director. And he wanted to know if I would help out at the city hall. If I would work there they didn't need anybody
Well,
full-time.
they had a full-time person that did it for a while, then she retired, then they,
That was Jenny, somebody that lived in back, wasn't it?
yeah, then they went to part-time, because that way they didn't have to pay any benefits.
That was Jim
They
Arnold.
they split
I
it
like
up.
to do that.
So did you always work then part-time for the city?
I always did.
And how long did you work for the city, do you
Well, I
think?
started, like I said, what
Year.
at City Hall, I'm
67.
not sure, but I started out working, when did Conrad's,
Yeah, that
Come
was,
in.
I guess it was probably 18 years.
18, I'm not that old.
18 years, I
Oh, I was
think.
gonna say. I
Well, he was mayor when I moved in
Yeah,
'89.
he was mayor for about
So-
14,
Must
16
have
years,
been
wasn't he?
about 86, long time, right.
I'm trying to think when he did
So he
start.
was still
And Rich,
fighting.
what about you? Did you work for the city of Bridgeton?
Yeah, I worked for the city. I drove the senior bus for.
Yeah, but when did you start
Oh,
doing that?
yeah, well, I drove for about 10 years. We just retired about 4 months ago, both of us. We hung it up.
I miss the people.
Yeah,
I miss the money.
I don't miss the drive back and forth though.
Well, now we don't have to worry about the weather.
Well, tell us, how does this driving work, just for the general public that may be watching this and just kind of giving them an idea about what Bridgeton does? Would the driving entail?
Oh, it's a great program because it's subsidized by the federal government. They're the ones that buy the vans, and then the people are paid by the city of Bridgeton.
Kind of run by the senior
But
department.
it's
isn't
run
it?
by the senior department. Mary Lane runs it, and they pay the salary to us, so much an hour. And what it entails is that anybody can get a ride. It's a senior or handicapped from anywhere in the city of Bridgeton.
Within the
Okay.
city
We did
limits.
not go out of the city.
Okay,
We had a special license that only allowed us to drive around there. That was it for carrying people. So.
did the people have to pay to use this service?
Absolutely nothing.
How many times, could they use this? Could they do
Well, they
this
could go
like?
every day if they wanted to go somewhere different every day. All they had to do is call 24 hours in advance. We had a schedule that we
Or
set
didn't you
up.
pick them up to come up and eat too sometimes?
Well,
the
we
dining
had a
center?
senior dining center that a lot of them they were regulars. They would go every day. They get picked up at 11 o'clock and they stay for lunch, and they always had entertainment most of the time, and then we'd take them home at 12:30, 1 o'clock. Take them home. And that was the way it worked. And we only worked, hours were 8 till about 2.
That's nice.
So that was, you had to make any doctor's appointments. If you made any doctor's appointment, we took them to the doctors.
Well, how long did you do that, Rich?
It was over 10 years.
Wow, wow.
Yeah, I retired, 1990.
Who were you working for before that?
I worked for the phone company.
AT&T.
Well, actually,
It's Western.
Well, they
Western Electric originally, and then became
Combined.
Lucent, and then it was combined. They combined all the phone companies. Then it was AT&T into AT&T, and now they're split them all back off again. So it's kind of crazy, but
Be careful.
yeah.
And Sharon, did you ever work for the city of Bridgeton?
Well, that's what they more or less forced me
I-
out to retire.
I just worked for Sears and Roebuck till I moved out here in 89.
So both of you worked for Sears at Northwest Plaza.
Well, I worked for them when I was in customer service at
Yeah, you
Don
worked when you were
Vandervetter
yeah,
and
when
when
you
for the Sears company.
Yeah.
I did
Well,
customer
yeah, but then when we
service.
got married, you weren't working for Sears.
No, who was
You were
it?
working for that, to make thermometers or what barometer?
Oh, that was a Central Rest Inn, Taylor
Yeah,
Instrument
Taylor
Company.
Instrument Company.
That's right, I forgot about it.
Well, you say you were living in like the Maryland Heights area. So how did you get back and forth to these jobs? Did you drive?
I didn't,
No,
Work
she only
down.
worked part-time, she worked in the evenings. I would come home from work and then I would take her to work.
or I had someone.
And then I would pick her up at
Yeah.
9:30 when she got
I would
off.
work in the evenings.
She only worked a couple nights a week,
Oh, I see.
so
see.
it worked, you know.
but then I would
Made a
pick
couple
you
friends
up.
like Wanda too. I
Oh,
would ride
yeah.
with them.
Lots.
Well, tell us about your days of working at Sears at Northwest Plaza. What was that like?
Gosh. Well,
She worked at a jewelry department.
Yeah, I sold
You want to tell
big
us?
items, huh? No. We weren't on commission, so,
No.
you know, we made
Although
good
there
money.
was, full-timers were. And they, well,
Yes.
in our department, they were.
Well, the last 2 years, they went on commission in jewelry
Because they would
department.
push to get,
And,
sales.
you're right, and we could sell a big diamond ring, and 2 days later, they'd come back and want their money back. So,
What,
didn't-
besides Sears, what big department stores were there? Do you remember?
Oh, my
oh, Famous
gosh.
and Bar, what's
We don't have
Dickinson?
Famous and Bar anymore, do we?
No,
Macy's.
No, Pennies. They were all there. I mean, there
Oh, it was
was,
outdoor. You had to walk
Yeah,
outdoors
originally.
to each store, but it was good. And then they had the big fountain, and it was a wonderful time to work. That was in 64, 60. When did they open? 64?
I don't remember.
It seems like,
yeah, it was very busy at that time, yeah, it was,
gosh.
Christmas was always big and,
yeah.
Really
it
nice.
was.
Did any of your children have part-time jobs at the Northwest Plaza while they were
No,
in high
you
school?
didn't,
Or
did yours?
My Kelly did at that ice cream, what was it, 99 flavors or Baskin Robbins.
Baskin Robbins.
She worked there quite some time. But that was about all. The one daughter went for Southwest Airlines after she graduated. So, no, they were pretty well. One daughter got married and
Yeah,
I
I find
don't
it
know.
too.
did they have any other part-time jobs in Bridgeton besides maybe not at the mall, but
Did any of
other?
ours work in Bridgeton? Do you?
no, Lisa did, she worked at,
Well, she worked at the Carrollton Club. She was a
well, it's
lifeguard.
lifeguard, but she worked at Dairy Queen.
Well, that's right. We
Yeah.
had that shopping center that was close by.
yeah,
The
as you were
which
coming
was
in.
really
Like
nice,
Oh.
yes.
Carrollton was
Dairy
it, yeah,
Queen.
there used to be a Dairy Queen there.
Oh, we loved it.
Yeah, I said years ago.
Yeah, that's right. I
also a
forgot Lisa
velvet.
worked there.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was a velvet freeze.
Velvet Freeze.
No, yeah, it was a Velvet Freeze too, it was somewhere too.
It was off Natural Bridge there,
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
yeah. Because sometimes.
What was that old restaurant? It was like a boat. It was right there in front of Target.
Oh, yeah, didn't it
What
burn?
was a boat?
That's what
It
I
was
was
a
telling you.
boat,
That's the one
wasn't
I
it?
was trying to
Bayou
think of.
Bayou Bell, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, the Bayou Bell.
Did you
I
ever
forgot.
eat
We used to,
there?
we had a lot of
Oh,
That was by
nice
Target in
dinners
the
there.
shop. Yeah.
That was a nice
The
oh,
shopping
place.
yeah,
center.
the people were all dressed up like, I mean, it was very good.
Yes,
But didn't
it was
burn
nice.
in the
Yep.
end?
Didn't it? Yes,
That's
it
what I
burned.
was thinking, I remember that.
You just
You
wonder.
know, just recently, we lost a wonderful pillar of our community, Mrs. Kathleen Telsher.
Oh, yes.
And
Yes.
her husband had passed on earlier, but Kathleen just died this year. And she established and really took care of the hardware store. Was it
She
just
was
a
the one
hardware
that did,
store?
she was the one that really, he was,
Oh.
I shouldn't.
No, well, but she did, she.
Remember when he was president? He was president
Yes,
of the Historical Society.
Julius.
Julius was, and she used to, Kathleen used to call us his harem. Because we were it was all women and Julius. And we had
I
a,
remember he said
did it
to
to
me right after I moved and I was at the Carrollton Frog Party, and he said, "Why in the world did you move way out there in the country?"
there people
He
are-
was, yeah.
that's right, we had
yeah.
the grog party.
We had.
What
That
was
was
a
something-
grog party?
That we had that at the
Oh,
Carrollton.
yeah, that was
Yes.
another fundraiser that the
Yes.
Was a
Historical
fundraiser.
Society did too.
What was the term grog all about?
Grog, because we,
It's
well,
the drink.
that was the drink. There is I couldn't give you I probably had that recipe somewhere.
You probably do.
I probably
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, and the people paid, and we took their money and.
You took their money.
Dress.
Yeah.
Well,
I
most
got
of the time they would
pictures.
join the
And we would get 'em
historical-
to join the
we'd-
Historical
we'd get 'em to
Society.
join
Yeah.
the historical society at the grog party.
Where they-
We would try
Oh,
to
so
give
you-
them
That-
some
that was their
grog
their annual
and then
dues.
sign them up.
Oh, I see.
That's what Telsher used to, yeah, Joe used to be the one taking the money with the little cash box,
He
yeah.
was funny.
But what about Mrs. Telsher? What do you remember of her store? It started off as hardware,
Telsher's Hardware, yes.
and then she expanded into several different areas. Do you recall
Well, they
that?
had a painter, yeah, they did painting upstairs.
Right.
Oh,
They
painting
hired
classes,
somebody to teach, they
remember?
taught painting.
Yeah,
they
toll-
classes.
toll.
Yeah,
painting, we
it toll
did
painting,
that.
that's
Yeah,
right,
they
I
did
forgot
that.
about
Yeah,
that,
we
Did
yeah.
you do any of that, Sharon?
Oh, yes.
Well, I
I
think we
still
got
have
some,
one
I
at
think
home.
down in the basement.
Yeah,
Got two or
yeah.
three of those still that
Yeah,
she made.
we got pretty good at it, I think. I don't
She
know.
was, Julius was at the Telsher's Hardware. He was the, come in and he talked to him, but then
Friendly.
Kathleen was the one that
Oh,
told him
That woman knew everything
She
about
knew
it.
everything.
what to get for
If you
their
ever
house.
needed a piece for your Carrollton home, you went there.
Excuse me, that's my phone.
That's your phone. Well, I'll just let it go. It'll
Call
hang
you
up.
Oh, all right.
Well, the
They'll call you.
modern
It'll be all. They'll call you back.
modern days of the phones.
Yes.
Everybody has a different.
I know, what was it like
Ringtone.
before cell phones? I can't imagine.
Oh, I don't know, but I'm glad my mother never
Well,
had
besides
it.
Kathleen Telsher, we also lost Jack Brannicky, head of Brannicky
Yes.
Hardware as
Yes.
well.
Okay, and they were all related,
Some
kind of, that's
Brannickys
supposedly.
Oh,
that
really?
were
I didn't know
branches
that.
with the historical
back, yeah,
society
yeah.
too.
Mhm.
A couple of the older aunts, they were involved with the historical
Yeah,
society.
they were all.
Yeah.
So we lost two hardware store people in the same year.
See, that was so
Me
nice
too.
to have that for
Oh.
Carrollton. I mean, to have that shopping center there, because we had a grocery store and then the Telshers, who, if you
Everything
needed
you
anything for
want.
your house, you
Two
could go
grocery
get
stores
it.
we had at one time.
Yes, we did,
We
JB.
had
And an IGA and a
IGA.
Snooks.
Remember
Yeah,
Grace from IGA?
yeah, and there was that dress shop.
There was a dress shop there,
Oh.
Dean's, Betty,
Yes.
wasn't her name Betty or what?
I believe so, but I think she had kind of a bad history. She died,
Oh,
but,
was that coded?
well, I better not get into that.
Be careful.
But, I know. But she did have a nice dress shop.
Yes, she did.
Mhm, and we go in there and shop. It just was a dream
It was
place
a good
to
place,
live.
yeah. It was, everything was
It-
convenient. Remember when Coles
everything.
came in? I think I kept them in business.
Oh, Cole's
Remember?
down further?
Yeah.
Oh,
Down
oh,
across
yeah,
there.
and then there was Target and
Yeah.
Venture, all those shops too, but that was further down.
Right, right.
But you got your driver's license back then.
Yeah.
And,
I used to drive with the kids hanging out the back.
oh my gosh, they were probably,
You ought to be, you used to be able to do that back then.
Yeah, she did not.
It was-
She never had a license till you were about
yeah.
40 or
probably
maybe
even
more than that.
older.
Maybe older than that.
Yeah.
Didn't you hook up with a
Never
car
did
one
drive,
time?
yeah.
Was that a Target?
Probably. Oh, let's not. I don't want that to take. Please.
It was
no.
funny though, but it was. We
Now,
had
if you were
some-
the guy that
Yeah.
hooked me.
And then remember the time there used to be a pickup night once a fall and once in the spring, and we found a piano on
Oh
your,
my
it was
gosh.
up from your street.
Right, I do remember that.
Yes,
Somebody-
and you were playing and I was playing and we were.
Wait a minute,
we
where
rolled
was
it
this
down the
piano?
street.
It
That was
on
in Carrollton.
Elsinore. People set it out to be picked up.
Oh, like
Yeah.
a,
Big trash
Big
pickup.
trash
Right,
pickup
trash
day
pickup.
in Carrollton that they had. Well, I guess
Yeah.
it was all over Bridgeton, maybe.
Yeah, probably
Obviously,
was,
probably
yeah.
wasn't
Yeah,
it?
probably was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could put anything out on our street and people going up the road would
People would stop.
see them, put them on top of their car, chairs, anything, yeah.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that too.
Yeah,
I'll have to watch this.
bring back your
Big
memories.
memories.
We had some good ones, really good
Yes, it was a good place to grow up in, so to
ones.
speak.
Yeah, it was just like Wellston was a good place to grow
Well,
up
yeah, it
in.
was in the, yeah.
It was, truly. I just had a reunion of over, 1,100 people. We sent invitations out from Wellston to Wellston for 1939
Well,
to
now, is it
19
Normandy School District now? Is
Oh,
is that-
Normandy's not, it went to Normandy
Oh, I
and
was gonna
now
say it did go to
Normandy's not, yeah, no, they've lost their everything, but there were 300 people at the reunion.
oh,
It
fun.
was 300?
Yes,
Well, they
yes.
had a lot. They
Well,
sent
that,
down how
yeah, they
many.
did ours, yeah, of course they did ours
Well,
too.
the
10
lady
years.
that graduated in 39 didn't make it, she's in a home now, but she came to the last one. We have one every 3 years, and it's amazing. But,
Well, is there anything else before we wind up our chat today that you would like to just tell us about during your years in Bridgeton and in Carrollton? It sounds like Carrollton.
We have each other.
yes, and what one can't
That
think
was
of, the
one,
other
yeah.
one does, but
Uh,
it's,
Sounds like Carrollton was more self-contained than maybe
Kind
other
of
parts
was,
of
Judy,
Bridgeton.
I guess. I remember when we met, what was it? Remember Bob and Sylvia Sullivan? Does that
Oh,
name ring
yes,
a bell?
yes.
He was a
She
council
was-
person, and she
she was,
had
yeah, and she sold
had a
real
makeup
estate.
party, didn't she?
Yes, and you just had all your teeth done.
Yes, and I remember
I
she
picked
served
her up.
wine, and we tried on the makeup and thought we looked really good.
Oh,
When the wine was gone, not so. I'll never forget that. I do
know.
remember.
That was fun. It was a good thing I was driving.
That was yes.
Oh,
But I
boy.
can't. It was just a good place. Bridgeton
It
was
was. We have been so
always.
fortunate.
We were very and it still is. I guess.
It's your memory.
Well,
No, I don't mean my memory's not good.
Bridgeton-
Bridgeton is.
Yeah, well, Bridgeton itself
yeah.
is, yeah.
Well, we still have friends that live in there off of St. Charles Rock.
Well,
Road,
in Spanish
and-
Lake area, yeah. That reminds me, I didn't get to go to the mayor's dinner this
Oh,
The volunteer.
year. I was
dinner.
out of town.
Thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome.
We enjoyed talking
This
to
wasn't
you.
that.
we're just.
We
so-
didn't know. We wondered.
Yeah.
It's our pleasure. You think it turned out all right?
I'm sure it did. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I mean, golly.
You really brought up some stuff, didn't you?
Well, maybe you shouldn't have some, but